told the rain to stop. Thanks. But before I start, sometimes, you know, at my age, you start forgetting things. And once you walk through this building and see what these guys and gals have accomplished in a very short period of time, it's almost amazing. Only guys from the technical department can do this. Let's give my hand. I learned a few things through my career at Borg Warner. I had the good fortune of being in sales, manufacturing, and human resources. I was going to try technical, but I flunked chemistry. Well, I did that. I also flunked speech giving one time at one of our service awards dinners. I had a beautiful story, but I forgot the punchline. So I never tell jokes anymore. But I think today, as we look at what these people have accomplished here, renewing our memories of Marbon, and Borg Warner, and GP, that it's a good time to walk back through history. So I spent a little time in that phase of Borg Warner. You know, it had a fairly short span when you think of it. It got started maybe in about the 1950s. And about 1987, we were someone else, right? In that short period of 30 years, starting from a little plant in Gary, Indiana, which Borg Warner originally purchased, was named Marcine. And they came to fame by making a compound, a rubber compound, you couldn't get natural rubber then, that was used to make coaxial cables for the war effort. Somehow, Bob Shattuck and a few others came up with the brilliant idea that there was a plastic out there someplace, and they needed a little piece of equipment, like a Banbury. Well, where do you look for Banburys? In the rubber industry. So that's where the first Banbury came from. So that started the little story that became Cyclolab. That then was named Marbon by Gary. And in a short period of time, Bob somehow conned Borg Warner to take and make an investment in a plant in Washington, West Virginia, without really having a product yet. Now that was salesmanship. So Bob takes and moves down a crew, and I could only remember a few of them, but I'll call your attention to a couple. You've heard of Howard. This was some of the motley crew they brought down from Gary. Todd Holt. Todd is 94 and living in Glenwood. Some of you would probably recall Bill Dudak, down in manufacturing. Clint Jackson, Ty Ply. Probably not too many knew Jerry Mason. Jerry was down in mixing. A short time later, I took him to California. He's now running a golf course. Okay. And of course, Bob Shattuck and my dear friend Lenhart. Well, after the Marcine plant, Marbon, Washington, West Virginia, and the start of what became the world's largest ABS plant. And as you know, we had to identify the plant, so it became Woodmar. Combination of Wood County, Marbon. And our future plant, likewise. Yep. Stand out here, I'm gonna talk. I think my number was so great. After Woodmar, a few, I don't know if these are in the order, but Baytown, Texas, that was Cosmar. That was a joint venture with Cosmar. Amsterdam, Holland. Great Mouth Chocolate, Green Plant. Coburg, Ontario. Oh, I just told it to stop. Coburg, Ontario. Normar, Oxnard, California. Calmar. Melbourne, Australia. Melmar. Ottawa, Illinois. Linmar. Anyone know where that came from? Hey, Landis Lincoln. Got it. Dale St. Louis. Baymar. We had others. I wasn't here when the Mexican plant came. I guess you call it Mexmar or Polymar. Yeah. Okay. And then we had other ventures that we branched out into. Borg Warner Chemicals Trucking. Someone had a bright idea. We're hauling this. We got to haul this material to a customer. We can pick up our supplies coming back. Great idea. Weston Chemical, Morgantown, West Virginia. Let's see. Ube Saikon and Ube City, our joint venture in Japan. Plastic Service Center, Bob Dillion's creation. I think that turned into polymer land after BE. B.W. Twitchell. I have to tell you a story about B.W. Twitchell and Terry Hunt. Terry kind of, in later life, passed through technical, I understand. But B.W. Twitchell is down someplace in Spartansburg, Greenville area of South Carolina. And Terry came upon this little plant, and I don't know why. Maybe some of you do. But anyhow, by then I was in human resources, and I accompanied Terry and a few others down to see the plant and to see, from a human resources standpoint, what we need to do. The funny part of the story is Terry could not find the plant. We drove through those countrysides. We saw garbage piles with old mattresses on them and everything else, but we could not find the plant. We finally got some directions from a farmer that said, as soon as you cross over the railroad tracks down here, you'll see a tin building. That's the Twitchell plant you're looking for. So, in mentioning all of these, there's a few little sidelines that you may not know. Calmar, which is very dear to my heart, since I went from sales to manufacturing then. And Calmar was probably the sweetest plant we had. It was built in the old Oxnard sugar beet plant. And originally we had half of the plant, the other half had a fence in it, and it had the school board's supplies that they didn't need, old desks and whatnot stored. And at that time we were building Normar, which became our first extrusion plant with all extruders. And I got the brilliant idea that gee, if we had some extruders on the other side of that fence there, we could become the first custom compounder of ABS plastics on the West Coast. And I don't know, it was kind of like a Bob Shattuck thing. I think he got his money from Borg Warner Corp at that time, based on faith. And within a week, I had money to start a plant in Calmar. I don't know why, but it works. One of the other plants that you may not know, Les Boyson was sent to Coburg, Ontario, trying to dig a plant out of a meat rendering plant, if you can believe it, in the dead of the winter. He did it. So, there's a lot of good stories. Now, from a sales standpoint, when Marbon first came to Washington, West Virginia, we only had the beginnings of the sales force, because the 11 western states at that time had a distributor by the name of Harvard Standard Chemical that sold our products in the 11 western states. In Canada, we had Dillon's Chemical, who sold our products in Canada. And in the European market, we had British Anchor Chemical located in London that sold our products there. So one of the first things that after getting the manufacturing facility started and coming up with that first customer, I think we can all remember, they made telephones, Western Electric, out in Indianapolis, Indiana. And we kept the roads busy once they accepted our material to build colored telephones. In fact, that was when the purchasing department innovated the 1,000-pound package, because we could send a 1,000-pound package to Western Electric, and they had extrusion machine, injection molding machines set up in about a football-sized plant. And they could just set the bag, or the box there, tear it from the bag, put the tube in, the vacuum tube, and suck it right to the machines. Okay? That was some of the stories on sales. I had the good fortune of the reason I ended in